We're talking to Michael Heenan and Rowdy. Yes, I think you're only really known as Rowdy, but you are Stephen McCullum, am I right?
I
think I got that one right.
Indeed.
Commodore of the RYCT?
Yes, Commodore of the
Excellent.
RYCT.
Well done.
Dual hats here.
Two extremely experienced sailors on Love and War. That was quite a race, not perhaps the ideal conditions, but you were going well.
It was pretty much the conditions as expected, actually, and so it panned out exactly how it was meant to. So I think we did pretty well out of it.
Very well, and slight nervous moments at the moment with Disco Trooper out there a few minutes away from trying to grab this division win off you guys.
Yeah, I think it's always a nervous moment when you're waiting on someone.
Michael, you were in the steering role on that first night. You were telling me about a couple of techniques you have to use on this beautiful boat.
Yeah, watch captain and helmsman on my watch, with Rowdy on the other. And when it gets heavy downwind in this boat, we know the boat so well, and it gets very, very heavy. So you use all of your strength and your legs and everything into it, and you can sometimes
you got your knee in,
grab your wheel with your leg to hold it, and then it pops out of the wave and it goes by itself after that.
Yeah,
so it's just simply a brilliant boat.
Because it's of that era which had rather bad habits downwind, I take it, yeah?
That's it, yeah. And the first night was extremely heavy. You think you're spearing a boat off a cliff, and you wonder what's going to hit when you hit the bottom, whether it's going to spear that way or that way. And these guys, Rowdy knows where it's going to go before it goes there, and he's already reacted, so it's pretty nice to watch.
So how was the race for you, Rowdy? How did you sort of sum it up for yourself?
This is my 28th.
It's 28th,
28th.
How many have you done, Michael?
25th, and it's been great, actually. The Cruising Yacht Club celebrated it, the Royal Tasmanian Yacht Club celebrated it.
Lovely combo.
It's been very, very good.
So tell us a little bit about the race for you.
The race for me was you start to get a little bit not as the butterflies aren't there, but they are there at the start for sure.
Of course.
And then it kicks in. Then you realise. So the nervous tension does arrive. So
what was the sort of toughest phase of the race?
I think the first night. First night was definitely the toughest.
Yeah.
And then watching it pan out to what we expected.
Yeah.
We knew that first night was always going to be a little bit rugged.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we got through that all right. So that was a little bit of a blessing, and the rest sort of followed what we expected. So I was very happy. I was happy about that. But we still had to sail the boat hard. So and we had a brilliant crew.
Yeah.
The crew was awesome.
Pretty amazing.
And we had the full backing of the Kurtz family. And that's something else. So,
and Simon must be pretty happy that Philip's got the boat down here in good shape.
Yeah, and as you can see, the boat is just it's something about this boat that gets in your bloodstream.
Yeah,
does.
I can absolutely imagine that. And Michael, for you, you've been doing a lot of work on Antipodes, and then you jump back on this because you've spent a lot of time on this boat as well, yeah?
Yeah, look, this is my favourite boat. This boat's perfectly prepared. The crew, you have to be something special to get invited onto Love and War. I feel very privileged to be invited onto Love and War. And I jumped on a bigger boat when Love and War wasn't going. I want to get that feeling of spewing a boat down at enormous speed. But back here, we don't need to talk to each other. We understand what's happening. We understand the next manoeuvre. The guys are solid to the core, and that brings a level of safety that allows us to push the boat as well. So it's very good from that.
And you get an inkling of just the expectations of being a member of the crew, because speaking to Paddy beforehand when he had to deputise for Lindsay, you could see for a man of such ocean experience, slightly nervous about standing in those big shoes, Yeah,
so I was lucky. I've sailed on Keelara a bit with Paddy, and so I knew that he's a driven guy. So he's the perfect guy to step into that.
Absolutely. There he is, the very man himself. Have you got it? Oh, here we are. Fresh news, division win. Well done. Good work. That's a real spell. Well done, guys.
And look, you know why? There's seconds in it.
Yeah.
The amount of data we had available immediately to us at all times. We would check 5 different weather files.
Right.
The 3 of us, the core thinking at the back of the boat, would then do a value analysis and agree together.
Yeah, right.
Yes, look, there does look as if that hole's going to form there. Does look as if the fleet's heading there. I think if we hold off, the amount of data that Paddy gave to us and contributed to it, it made a very big difference. It was another era.
And I guess the danger at this sort of era is you can get analysis paralysis. There's so much data, and the experience is knowing what to ignore and which bits are probably your short list of things.
Yeah, that's the bit of being a local, and you sort of study the weather a little bit. It's a little bit of deciphering what's false and what's real.
Yep.
Because sometimes the bomb, they do their best, but sometimes the local anomalies around the coast sort of throw things out. So
I mean, talk about anomalies. We've been watching that sort of amoeba sitting off Shooting Island or wherever it is, just fluxing all over the place in half-hour phases. It's extraordinary.
So that was a bit of an anomaly, as you said.
Yeah.
But it was something that we were watching very carefully because it was there for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think that was the deciphering, pulling that apart.
Yeah.
That's where Michael asks a lot of questions. He's like that 4-year-old kid that says why.
Keeps saying why.
Says why. So we need that all the time. We've got the local side of it, we've got the data coming in, then we need to question them as well. So.
But in a way, coming up the river, you've got all that data, but you've got this bloke here
who knows
who's done
little...
his dinghies in this place, and you put that all aside and you say there's going to be a lift here, there's going to be a header there, I know the current's here. It's like we say we've got a secret weapon on for getting up the river, and I think it paid off. We've won our division just 1 minute ago.
And by minutes.
By minutes, and this is,
fantastic.
put all that aside and say, when I was sailing dinghies here, you came up that shore and you lifted, and we come up that shore and we lift. Just brilliant stuff.
Fantastic. Well done, gentlemen. It's lovely to know that in the middle of that interview you actually got the job done. So fantastic. And so always so good to talk to the Love and War crew, and enjoy your celebrations.